In North Carolina, college students and families in North Carolina getting a break on tuition next semester.
The University of North Carolina, Asheville is offering free in-state tuition for spring 2025, covering the $2,061 semester price tag with grants. The tuition break is intended for families that live in sections of the state devastated by Hurricane Helene in September. Repairs to the UNC Asheville campus itself have topped $30 million.
ABC's Jim Ryan. Australia is preparing one of the biggest legislative actions limiting kids on social media there.
Australia's House has already approved it. Now it's up to the Senate to give its stamp of approval to a bill that would ban anyone younger than 16 from all social media, including Facebook, Instagram, X, and TikTok. Critics argue it takes away parents' authority to decide what's best for their own children and might drive kids to the dark web. A dad whose 17-year-old took his own life last year after falling prey to an online sextortion scam on social media called it absolutely essential for the safety of our children. Sherry Preston, ABC News.
Ohio Governor Mike DeWine signed a bill that would ban transgender students from using the restroom outside of one's gender assigned at or near birth. Critics of the bill say it could put trans students in danger of discrimination or violence if enacted. A Thanksgiving treat for some northern states, including New York, Wisconsin, and the Dakotas. Another geomagnetic storm could light up the skies Thursday. Michelle Franzen.
Bioptimizer's Black Friday blowout sale is now. For 20 years, Bioptimizers has provided top supplements like Magnesium Breakthrough, the only product with all 7 types of magnesium to support sleep, stress management, hormone balance, and mood. Make your health a priority this holiday season and visit bioptimizers.com/radio and use code RADIO to get 25% off and up to $100 in free gifts with purchase. Go to bioptimizers.com/radio and use code RADIO today.
News Talk 610 AM and 102.1 FM. KVNU.
I'm Bill Walter, KVNU News. Little Lambs Foundation for Kids will be a big part of Novemberfest this coming Friday and Saturday at the Cache County Event Center. On KVNU's For the People program earlier this week, Little Lambs co-founder, along with his wife Stephanie, Ted Chalfant, talked about their start 10 years ago.
Little Lambs was founded in 2014 with one goal, and that was to provide comfort, hope, and essentials to children and families in crisis throughout Utah. One of the great things is we started in the basement of our Nibley home in 2014. And our initial goal was we were going to help 40 to 50 children that were transitioning into foster care.
Now, 10 years later, Chalfant said they are providing over 630 local families with diapers, wipes, formula, and other essentials each month. Little Lambs will be among the vendors at Novemberfest to raise awareness and also accept donations. Also, the Cache Valley Kids Market will be at the Novemberfest event. Committee member Lindsey Johnson said the market provides a space for young entrepreneurs from ages 5 to 17 to sell their creations. At Novemberfest, they have been offered 20 vendor booth spaces for their kids to be able to sell their items alongside the other 100 vendors that are signed up for the event. 3 educators were recognized as Teachers of the Year at the Cache County School District Board meeting this past November 21st. John Sanchez, Kylie Nilsson, and Connie Rollins were each individually recognized at the Board of Education meeting for their contributions as teachers for the 2024-25 school year. Sanchez teaches 7th grade math at Spring Creek Middle School. Nilsson teaches resource at South Cache Middle School and has been a teacher there for 6 years. Connie Rollins teaches resource at Skyview High School. The board invited the friends or family of the recognized teachers to stand. Terry Rhodes, Cache County School District board member, said they know that behind every great teacher is a great team and a great family. And Manaway Police Chief Dakota Midkiff has returned to active duty weeks after he was placed on leave after a video showed him involved in what appeared to be a violent interaction with a 76-year-old man. The Mattaway Town Council voted unanimously to allow Midkiff to be taken off administrative leave and resume duties as of last Friday. Last month, Midkiff was caught on video taking Richard Schulze to the ground before arresting him, leaving Schulze's face bloodied. The arrest angered residents, some of whom filed a petition calling for Midkiff's removal. Shortly after, the town's attorney told the council that Schulze appeared to be resisting, and that weighed in favor of the use of force. A former wildlife officer, Schulze has since been charged in Mattaway's Justice Court with a misdemeanor count of interfering with police, although he has yet to enter a plea. As part of his return to duty following the incident, Midkiff must take remedial training of no less than 40 hours. KVNU weather brought to you by Quality First Insurance. Insuring your business can be frustrating, but Matt Robbins at Quality First Insurance can offer help. He will call you back. For more information, go to q1ins.com. After the storminess of yesterday, much better weather in the valleys and the mountains, as mostly fair to partly cloudy skies will prevail. Overnight low tonight around 16. Could see some patchy fog late tonight. Some patchy early morning fog possible, otherwise mostly sunny, and around 33 on Thanksgiving Day. Friday, mostly sunny and mid-30s. Rest of the weekend looks nice as well. Get more news at CashValleyDaily.com.
Roof Rescue is your local roofing specialist, dedicated to keeping your home safe and dry no matter the weather. Their team of experienced roofers is here to serve you, providing top quality service at affordable prices. From minor repairs to complete roof replacements, they've got you covered. Remember, your roof is your first line of defense in protecting your family from the elements. So don't wait until the next storm to discover your roof problems. Call Roof Rescue today at 435-999-4268. They're your trusted local roofing experts, here to keep your home safe and dry. Roof Rescue, celebrating 10 years of providing watertight peace of mind.
Your station for the Aggies. News Talk KVNU, 102 FM, 610 AM. And on Alexa, Google, online, or the KVNU mobile app.
This weekend, S.C. Needham Jewelers has Black Friday specials for you. Our store is brimming with excellent values on diamonds, engagement rings, jewelry, and watches. In fact, we have jewelry specials starting at $49. Doors open at 10. Get a free gift of technology with a qualified purchase. See scneedham.com for details. You'll also enjoy a festive shopping experience at Utah's oldest jewelry store with decorations and personalized service. Again, open 10 to 7. S.C. Needham Jewelers, middle of the block at this sign of the clock.
Intermountain Budge ENT Clinic has an experienced and caring team of physicians and staff to assist you with all of your ear, nose, and throat concerns, including head and neck surgery. Doctors Kaiser and Wilson and their staff at Intermountain Budge ENT Clinic will work together to provide excellent care and support throughout the entire surgery process, from your pre-op visit to your full recovery. And they accept all insurance. For more information about Doctors Kaiser or Wilson, search Budge Clinic ENT or call 435-716-1420. Local care with Intermountain expertise.
I'm Larry Gelwicks, the getaway guru for Morris Columbus Travel and Norwegian Cruise Line. It's Black Friday deals with cruise discounts, a free air promotion, up to $200 free spending money on board, and on select cruises, the third and fourth person sharing your cabin sail absolutely free. You just pay the taxes when you book with Morris Columbus Travel.
Come on and get away, Morris Columbus.
KVNU's For the People with Jason Williams and Bill Walter.
And it is Utah known as the fraud capital of the world. Not because we have more people committing fraud, but because we have so many people falling for it.
Going beneath the headlines and connecting you to the newsmakers.
The radio is a great way to get the word out to a lot of people in an emergency. So we thank you for your help and being a partner with us.
For the People on News Talk KVNU, 610 AM, 102.1 FM, online at 610kvnu.com, and on the KVNU mobile app.
Welcome to KVNU's For the People, our final show of the week. It is Thanksgiving. Later on in the show, we'll answer some listener questions about my recommendations for Thanksgiving movies. It is just one, basically. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. If you haven't seen it, you really have to. For the People Theater Hour with Charlie Schill in the studio. We'll be talking the sneak preview we got in Logan last week of Junaito, Bandito, and the shootout at the Jingle Junction. the upcoming Nutcracker Ballet, and more. Also spotlight one final nonprofit here in Cache Valley. We've been doing that all week in the lead up to Thanksgiving, and with Giving Tuesday around the corner, we've been spotlighting nonprofits here in the Valley all week that you can get out and support with your time or your money. We'll do some more of that before the end of the show today, but we're kicking things off here today with what has become a tradition on For the People, and it's a fun one. And I always like to set this up by saying the first time I reached out to the governor's chief of staff and said we wanted to do this, the response was, really? That's all? You don't want to be mean? You don't want to ask? You don't want to ask any difficult, intentionally difficult questions, things like that? And I said, no, we want to talk about Thanksgiving and things we're thankful for with the governor. And the governor agreed. And so we've done this every year for several now. And joining us again to keep this tradition up here on For the People, we have with us Governor Spencer J. Cox. And Governor, it's a pleasure to have you join us. I know this is an atypical interview for you to do, but it is nice to kind of set things aside a little bit and talk about things that went right over the last year, things that you're hopeful will go right in the coming months as the legislative session begins. And to start things off, I know you're a humble guy, so I'll say it for you, but you have to be feeling pretty good about the election results. A very clear thumbs up from Utahns with their vote sending you back into office, and that it's fair to be thankful about that, I think.
It is indeed, Jason. Thanks for having me. As always, I look forward to this every year, and yeah, it is nice. It's nice in lots of ways. One, it's nice to have it over with.
Sure.
There are people who love campaigns and people who enjoy governing. I'm the latter, not the former, and so I'm grateful that it's over, and feel pretty strongly that that's my last one ever, which I'm also grateful for, but more grateful for the good people of Utah who have said they want us back, and they're excited about what we're accomplishing together.
Sure. And again, that was both in the primary and in the general election, a decisive victory for you and Lieutenant Governor Deidre Henderson on the ticket there as well. And, Governor, one of my favorite things about this interview each year is that there are certain issues that, of course, generate headlines. Immigration in the headlines here in Utah this week. There are the hot-button culture war issues, as they're referred to, that are guaranteed to get a front page and discussion even on our airwaves a lot. But when we do this interview, we have a chance to kind of step a little deeper into things when we're talking about what we're thankful for, what happened this year that went well. And we talk about some things each year that didn't get enough attention. So where would you like to start?
Well, I'm happy to start anywhere you want to start, but I think, again, the things that have gone well are important for our state, and we do feel so fortunate. The accolades keep coming, that people objectively believe that this is really the best state in the nation when you look at U.S. News and World Report and others that do those types of rankings. So I'm always grateful for those things, but those don't tell the whole story. Again, we live in a place where people give back, where people care about their neighbors. Speaking of things that I think we should spend more time on, I've given lots of speeches in the past year about how we've made a mistake telling our kids and grandkids that they need to go out and change the world. We need to be telling them that they need to change their communities and volunteer, the nonprofits that you're highlighting, giving back, making sure our neighborhoods are strong. That's what we do best in Utah, and that's why we lead in all these other rankings. We have strong families, strong neighborhoods, strong communities, and we have to be dedicated to that. I do worry that we get too lost in the national narrative. When I was a student at Utah State, I learned that Poli-Sci 101, that all politics is local. And that used to be true. I don't think that's true anymore. I think all politics is national, and I don't think that's healthy for us. I think it's better when we're focused on the more local issues.
Sure. And, there's no shortage of those ever. I know, it's a challenging time in Utah. We're dealing with, some issues with housing. We're dealing with massive growth, at least here in northern Utah. And we also have, challenges with the Great Salt Lake. We talk with Brian Steed about that often here on the show. And it can sometimes, when you look at the headlines, it can seem a bit overwhelming. And I assume that happens within your office occasionally as well with staff or even yourself. But the challenges that we have faced this year, How have we done? If you had to rate us out of, for 1 being poorly to 10 being great, where are we sitting as a state?
Yeah, I would give us a 7 or an 8, and there's again, it is interesting if you're grading us on the curve, then we're at 10 plus. And I can tell you that every governor in the country is jealous of what's happening here. I hear from them often, but I also recognize that we have so much more to do, and I'm not satisfied, and I know that people of Utah aren't either. You've hit on the major issues. They are growth related, and we really have to get away from this kind of scarcity mentality and move towards an abundance mentality. I'm excited to see that happening with the new administration. Certainly the conversations I've had with President Trump and with members of his new cabinet and administration, really leaning towards the way we're approaching it, and that is an abundance mentality, that we're over-regulating. Energy is a great example. That is one of the big drivers for us over the next 5 to 10 years. I said we need to double our energy production. We need to do it very quickly. That can only happen if we lower the regulation. This regulation that was put in place during the 60s and 70s to try to solve problems and clean up the environment is actually making it worse. It's making it harder for us to do the things that need to be done. Clean energy, we can't even do the clean energy pieces because of NEPA and other regulations. And so rolling back those regulations is definitely going to help us and give us an abundance mentality that will allow us to really, really explode our energy production. The same thing with housing. We have to build more, and we've got to get out of this scarcity mentality that we're in so that our kids and grandkids can afford to live here. It can feel overwhelming at times for everyone, and certainly that happens. But I'm incredibly optimistic and hopeful because we live in a state where we do care about solving problems and not caring who gets the credit. That's been what's made us special, and that still exists here. So I know we can solve these while other states are struggling.
Sure. I've always respected that you don't, sugarcoat these things, that you say, look, these are major challenges, and these are things that we might stumble here, we might not get it exactly right here, but one of the approaches you've taken to the future of Utah, if you will, for lack of a better phrase, is I think embodied in your Office of Families, created within your administration. And I noticed on your schedule this morning you were meeting with one of my favorite people in Utah politics, Amy Winder Newton, who directs that office. When it comes to families, the challenges, again, there can seem overwhelming. Every family dealing with, on a personal level, different challenges, whether they be financial or otherwise. And opportunity is, it means a lot of different things to different people. So when you sit down and talk with, say, Amy Winder Newton about, the Office of Families and the work they're doing, and you think about the future, the upcoming legislative session, the new administration, all of that, do you have like a list of to-dos that come into your head?
Yeah, we do. And in fact, every member of our cabinet puts together their list of things they would like to accomplish. We take those, we prioritize them, we rank them. We're going through the budget proposal right now. And then we put together what we think is an agenda for that will help our state. We work with legislative leadership to get as much of that enacted as possible. We ask them too, what are their priorities and how can we help you with your priorities? We try to approach this in a very collaborative way. Speaking of the Office of Families, that's something we created because we looked at the science, and the science says that strong families, intact families lead to better outcomes. Now, it doesn't mean if you come from a family that's had some struggles or isn't kind of the model family that you're not going to make it. My parents were divorced when I was 10 years old, so I'm one of those kids that comes from a broken family, and we worked really hard to find our way through that. But the data is very clear. The science is very clear, and I shared some of this. I was just back last week at UVA with a professor there who works on these family issues, Professor Wilcox, and he said, Utah is leading the nation in so many ways, in large part because we have strong family formation and we have more intact families. In fact, more intact families than any other state in the nation. We're at over 70%. We're the only state over 70%. And so the Office of Families is looking at ways to help strengthen those families, to help couples stay together, to make sure that we're not passing laws in Utah that hurt the family. Sometimes unintentionally we pass laws that have negative effects on the family, and we're trying to prevent that from happening.
Speaking again with Governor Spencer J. Cox, talking in light of Thanksgiving tomorrow, what we're thankful for here in Utah. And Governor, I know it's an unfair question, really, because a lot happens in a year. A lot will happen in the upcoming legislative session. But if you had to name one or maybe two things that took place this last year or that you're hopeful for taking place in the upcoming legislative session to be thankful for, could you give us a list?
Yeah, well, housing is at the top of that list. I'm thankful for what we were able to do last session, and I'm hopeful for what's still to come this next session. We know that the median price of a home in Utah is just way too high. It is. It's, I've got kids that are that age. One graduated from college, and I want them to be able to afford a home, and that's not going to happen for a while if we don't make some significant changes here. But I am hopeful. We broke ground based on some legislation we passed earlier this year on a development where they're building these homes that will be under $400,000. I'd like to get them lower than that, but that's a great start. $100,000 less than the median home price here. We're starting to build starter homes again. That's really where my focus is. We've had, on the water side, that's another issue that's been so big. We've had 2 great years in a row, and we passed dozens of pieces of legislation, over $1 billion in funding when it comes to water conservation. So I'm much more optimistic about saving the Great Salt Lake and the direction we're headed there. But we could use one more good winter. We had a great snowstorm last night. I'm back in Fairview tonight for the first time in a while, and we've got about 8 inches here on the ground. So I'm excited about that. It was a good storm for Central Utah, but we know one more even kind of mediocre year will get that lake in healthy territory again. So I'm hopeful there. But more than anything, I'm just grateful for the good people of Utah and the way that they do work to make our jobs easier as we give back, as we take care of our neighbors. That's the type of stuff that makes us stronger and will help us overcome any challenges that we face this upcoming year.
Appreciate that. And for listeners, again, the legislative session kicks off mid-January-ish and goes for 45 days. A lot will happen, and we'll be covering it here on the show. So keep an eye on these things the governor has mentioned. And, Governor, I promised your team that we wouldn't take too much of your time, keep you from your family too long here with the holiday officially beginning, I guess we can say, as people wrap up their work days. But I did ask our listeners if they had a question they wanted me to ask you when we spoke today, and we got 2 responses. Everyone's busy with the holidays, but I thought both responses were great questions. One was, which game will he be watching tomorrow? And the other was, what is the first dish he heads for on the Thanksgiving spread when that starts tomorrow? I thought those were great questions for the governor.
Oh, those are great questions. Yeah, well, I love football. We're a football family, and so we'll be watching all the games. But I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about Green Bay, just because
Sure.
Jordan loves the quarterback, and as an Aggie, we cheer for our Aggies. So really excited to see Jordan Love. They had a huge win over the Niners last week, and I like the direction they're headed. I think they only have 3 losses on the year, so it's looking good for Jordan Love. And when it comes to the first thing I head for on the table for Thanksgiving, I love stuffing. I'm a stuffing guy, and this is kind of the only time of year you get stuffing. We're from Sanpete County, so we have turkey all the time. I'm contractually obligated to eat turkey. We have one of the largest turkey processing plants in the country right here in Sanpete County. But the stuffing is unique to this time of year, so I'm going to say stuffing on that one.
That's great. Fair enough, and appreciate you making the time to do this today. Again, the goal is to, at least for this 15 minutes each year, lower the temperature a little bit and let everybody ease into that holiday. And to do it with the governor is a really fun experience for us. And Governor Spencer J. Cox, again, our guest, talking about things we're thankful for, things coming up, things that have happened this year. And Governor, thank you one more time for making this tradition happen again. And happy Thanksgiving to you and your family and your team.
Thank you for having me. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone listening out there. I hope it's a special time surrounded by friends and family, and that we remember to be grateful, even in the rough times. Being grateful is one of those virtues that makes us all better people and makes us stronger. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. And again, thank you for your time, and we'll speak again soon, I'm sure.
Of course.
And to our listeners, thank you for your time as well. Stick around. More of For the People and the Theater Hour with Charlie Schill coming up right after this quick break.
News Talk 610 AM, 102.1 FM, KVNU.
Imagine giving the gift of a warm meal to a local family, providing essential care to children across the globe, or offering a blanket to someone right here in Cache Valley, all with the tap of a button. The Light the World giving machines are coming to Cache Valley, and all are invited to a community celebration. Come enjoy live music Monday, December 16th, starting at 6 p.m., right off Center Street in Logan, next to Great Harvest. Together, let's show what Cache Valley is made of. The giving machines will be in Cache Valley December 16th through January 1st.
Hi, this is Chris Wilson at Wilson Motor Company. It's time for our Black Friday sales event. We have a great selection of over 150 new Fords and over 65 Nissans. All 24 models have closeout pricing. We have rebates up to $12,000 and rates as low as 0% for 60 months. Or we have over 140 pre-owned vehicles to choose from. Now is a great time to buy a new or pre-owned vehicle. Check out our inventory online at wilsonmotor.com. Hurry in, our Black Friday sales event ends November 30th.
Welcome back to KVNU's For the People. Annual tradition completed. Every year here on For the People, we speak with the governor, Spencer J. Cox, governor of Utah, joining us there to list what he's thankful for that's happened this year and thankful for the opportunity coming up in the legislative session and more. Kind of fun to mix public policy with the personal experience everyone has with the holiday. And thanks again to the governor for doing that, taking some time out of. He's already, prepping for the holiday there with his family, and he took some time out of his day to talk to us. So we appreciate that, and we'll do it again next year. And we'll speak with the governor before then, especially as the legislative session gets underway. But Thursdays normally are time to put all this aside. So we've kind of broken tradition there a little bit. We'll get right back to tradition now with the For the People Theater Hour. And Charlie Schill here in the studio. It's been a pretty exciting couple of weeks. And if the Pickleville preview last week is any indicator, they've got a hit on their hands.
Oh, of course they do.
That went over well, the one-night show.
Yes, it did.
And they're coming back.
The thing is,
ABC,
that it seems like Christmas keeps moving up on us. And that next thing you know, it'll be right after Halloween. But the Pickleville on Tour troupe coming in and doing that show really felt like the start of a holiday season.
Yeah,
and it was fun. That's all you can say about it. I mean, lively music and dancing, broadly funny humor, and the cast was just having a ball. You could tell.
That is my favorite thing about Pickleville.
Yep.
I think.
Yep, they're always having a good time.
And because they're having such a good time,
it infects the audience.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
You'd have to intentionally fight that to not be swept up in it.
And TJ Davis comes in and he does Junaito Bandito. And there are things about that character, I mean, that he's just grown into. I mean,
yeah.
He does the accent perfectly.
Yeah.
Even to the point that some of the people who are on stage with him make jokes about the way what? Shirk? You shirked?
Shirked.
And he plays with the audience. There was a guy sitting in the front row of the theater who had a handlebar mustache, and he was obviously jealous.
Oh, that's too
jealous of that ability.
Too perfect. There he is with his fake one, and that's it. Everyone I've talked to said I asked them what they thought, and almost everyone said the same thing. What a fun time!
It was. It really was. Juanito Bandito and the shootout at Jingle Junction really didn't have a lot to do with Christmas. Okay? They put some Christmas lights up on their set.
To remind everyone.
To remind everybody. They made a couple jokes about how his bandit sidekicks are really wayward elves that he stole from Santa Claus. But really, the trick is the MacGuffin in this show that drives it is supposedly Santa's naughty and nice list.
Okay.
But who cares?
Yeah.
It was a ball.
And
the great thing was, about it felt like half the valley turned out for this show, and they brought their kids.
Yeah, it was pretty sold out.
It was
for a theater that big,
and that was created a really nice rowdy atmosphere in the audience, and I think everybody had a great time.
That is. The November 23rd show was a one-night show, but Pickleville's tour of Juanito Bandito, the shootout at Jingle Junction, heads south first to Salt Lake and then up to Idaho Falls and then back in Logan for a 3-night run, December 20th through the 23rd at the Eccles Theater. And you can get tickets to those shows coming up closer to Christmas now.
And there's 4 performances during that 3-day run, including a matinee at 2 p.m. on December 21st.
Oh, perfect. That is, so you've got 4 opportunities to get out and see this. That very cool stuff.
And I'm inclined to think that show is gonna sell out.
I think when word gets around, based on what I've heard, reactions I've heard from the trial run November 23rd, and also think of this too. By the time they come back on the 20th and start that 4-show run, December 20th, they'll have perfected it and put more jokes in it as they always do. So yeah, Pickleville will be back December 20th through the 23rd. Juanito Bandito and the shootout at Jingle Junction. That's just one of several holiday shows, though, kicking off here starting this weekend and into next week.
Well, and the thing is, they're going to kick off with the event on the 23rd, and then they'll end the holiday season when they come back. And between that,
that's right.
We have got all of these shows that the Eccles Theater has got scheduled.
Yeah, it's
and there, and there's tons of them.
Pretty busy. There isn't a free week between now and the end of the year. That's Wendy knows what she's doing. We'll talk about them all. The For the People Theater Hour continues right after this look at the news with KVNU's Bill Walter.
Thank you, Jason. KVNU News is brought to you by Cardall's Insulation. Just ahead of the holiday season, Utah State liquor stores are offering customers the option to round up purchases to the nearest dollar to help alleviate homelessness statewide. Created earlier this year by the Utah State Legislature under House Bill 548, the initiative directs all contributions to the Pamela Atkinson Homeless Account, supporting programs to prevent and reduce homelessness across Utah. Funds raised through the Roundup program will be directed to that account, managed by the Utah Office of Homeless Services. The funds are distributed to homeless nonprofit service providers statewide to provide vital support to Utahns experiencing homelessness. Services may include temporary shelters, meal service, case management, and housing. Utah State Aggie men's basketball team back on the road for the NIT season tip-off at Orlando. They will be facing off against St. Bonaventure on a rare Thanksgiving Day game Thursday at 3:30. You'll hear all the activity, all the action on that on KVNU beginning at 2:30 on Thursday afternoon. And then the Aggie football team wrapping up the season on the road at Colorado State. Friday at 1:30. We'll be on the air at 11:30 Friday morning with Aggie Game Day for that. And also, the Aggies pieced together a furious rally in the fourth quarter, erasing a 14-point deficit in the final frame. But the Utah State women's basketball team ultimately lost in overtime 79-77 at Omaha Tuesday night. KVNU weather for tonight is brought to you by Logan Extermination. Give them a call at 752-8450. Looking at maybe some patchy fog late tonight. Otherwise, partly cloudy skies, low near 16. A little bit of patchy fog in the morning. Otherwise, mostly sunny, high around 33. Get more news at CashValleyDaily.com.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. The White House says 3 Americans wrongfully detained in China have been released and are on their way back to the U.S. The diplomatic deal, part of a 3-for-3 prisoner trade. ABC's Louis Martinez says it follows months of negotiations.
That's one of the reasons why the whole diplomatic initiative is really kept quiet behind the scenes, because they don't want any outside interference, potentially risking a total collapse of any talks. We've seen it happen with those Americans who are being held in Russia, and now we're seeing the same situation play out.
ABC News has learned at least 3 members of President-elect Trump's transition team and cabinet members have received bogus threats, triggering a police response known as swatting. The FBI is investigating. A federal judge issuing a ruling denying Sean Diddy Combs' latest request for release on bail pending his sex trafficking trial. The judge telling defense attorneys his decision was based on, quote, by clear and convincing evidence the hip-hop mogul is potentially dangerous. This is ABC News.
As the weather outside turns frightful, it's time to think about making the inside of your home delightful. Wrap your home in warmth this winter with Cardall's insulation. Their insulation doesn't just keep the cold out, it keeps the warm in. Today's insulation will make your home quieter and can dramatically cut down on your energy bill. Whether it's an attic, garage, or your entire home in need of insulation, Cardall's Insulation is who you should call. 755-5012. There's still a tax credit up to $1,200 you can take advantage of. Call 755-5012.
This is Rochelle Hanks, bringing you the daily financial market report on behalf of financial advisor Tron Arnold and Edward Jones for Wednesday, November 27th. Equity markets closed lower Wednesday with the S&P 500 snapping a streak of 7 consecutive sessions with positive returns. Real estate and healthcare were the top performing sectors, while technology was a laggard, following mixed earnings results from Dell Technologies after the market closed yesterday. Overseas, European markets traded lower, while Asian markets were mixed overnight, with Japan's Nikkei logging a modest decline, while equity markets in China were higher. Today, U.S. equities closed lower. The Dow closed down 138 points at 44,722. The Nasdaq closed down 115 points at 19,060, and the S&P closed down 23 points at 5,999. And in the bond market, 10-year Treasury yields are trading at 4.25%. In stocks of local interest, Autoliv is down 69 cents at 98.60. Chevron is down 42 cents at 162.11. Home Depot is down 8 cents to 427.19. Kroger is down 7 cents to $60.50. Nucor was up 77 cents to 154.77. Walmart was up 57 cents to 91.88. And Meta Platform was down $4.34 to 569.20. In commodity markets, the price of crude oil was flat at $68.78, and the spot price of gold was up $17.30 to $2,638.60. This has been today's financial market report, brought to you on behalf of Edward Jones, member SIPC, and financial advisor Tron Arnold, serving individual investors with personalized attention financial advice at 135 North Main in Logan. If you would like additional information, please contact any of our 7 Edward Jones offices in Logan, Providence, and Smithfield, and the daily commentary is also located on our website at edwardjones.com.
With the arrival of fall, potential heavy rainstorms, fallen leaves, and debris, the Cache Stormwater Coalition would like to remind you of a few things to be mindful of. Clean out all the leaves and debris from your rain gutters. Use a broom or rake to remove leaves and debris from the top of storm drains, as clogged storm drains can lead to flooding. Don't keep piles of yard waste in your yard, on the sidewalk, or street. Use a green waste recycle bin, and check with your local city office on where to place collected leaves for pickup. And when it snows, remember to keep the snow away from curb and gutter and storm drains. We can all make a difference if we do our part. Brought to you by the Cache Stormwater Coalition.
I've heard people say that too much of anything is not good for your business.
KVNU's For the People Theater Hour. I thought this was a good song for our discussion here today.
Shades of Ally McBeal.
That's right.
This was the Biscuits theme song.
Yeah, it just and you remember all of that,
and nobody knows what we're talking about anymore.
No,
but don't
Google
worry
it.
about it.
Just Google it. You'll laugh. It'll entertain you. I thought it was perfect. Although in this case where we're talking theater, this is one of those cases where too much of something is a good thing. On that note, we don't have too much in Cache Valley. We have a lot, especially for our demographics and the size of our population and the size of the valley. We have more than normally you would see in an area of this size, but it's not too much because, well, I don't know. It might feel too much for you sometimes having to get to it all to review, and but it's almost a perfect amount. In fact, with Lionheart Theater opening, I think that filled a gap, and we could maybe support one more big, very active theater company with the audience that's available, but. We're kind of in this sweet spot, I think,
well,
content-wise.
Some of the Cache Theater Company isn't as active as they have been in the past.
No, yeah. In fact, they canceled their fall show. Is that who did that?
Yeah, they were going to do Young Frankenstein.
Yeah.
And they canceled that and went to work on their emphasizing their academy.
That's right.
For young children. So the theater groups are kind of leveling themselves off. A lot of the productions that you see now are combinations of CTC and Music Theater West. When they did Something Rotten. That was a joint production. So,
and that worked well, teaming up like that.
Yeah. Oh, anyway, speaking of the theater companies around, we haven't talked much about A Christmas Carol at Four Seasons out in Smithfield.
Yeah.
Granted, these people have done
a lot.
have done Four Seasons so often they could do it in their sleep.
Sure.
But when you think about it, it's got a gigantic cast.
Yeah, I'm scrolling here
and every time they do it, and the one of the real things, granted, great acting. Great music,
yeah,
but it's the costuming, all the Victorian
uncomfortable
costumes.
And expensive to make.
But think about every time you change that cast, you have to tailor all of the costumes.
Yeah,
for the new person in that role.
Yeah, to account for height or
changes in height and weight and all that jazz.
Shoulder width,
Yeah.
That's a lot of work.
That is a ton of work. And one of the people who is responsible for a lot of that is Kim Rash, who is going to be in this production as well as Mrs. Mapes. But the thing that you need to know is that Kim Rash has been on stage in 9 productions of A Christmas Carol since 2011. Wow.
That is
yeah.
And I'm counting here 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 20. So this is not counting ensemble and not counting youth ensemble too, where they have an equal number in those. There are 24 characters that have to be costumed for Christmas Carol.
Yeah, but you
I never thought of that.
But you can't not count the ensemble.
Yeah, because they
the
have to be
adult
costumed
ensemble
too,
and the
right?
youth ensemble. They're not on stage naked, boys and girls.
And I think there's an equal number in the adult ensemble and close to an equal number
In the youth ensemble.
So
Yeah,
you're talking a conservative guess here, 65, 70 people.
yeah.
And I'm guessing it's probably closer to 75, 80. I'd never thought about that because A Christmas Carol is one that we've all seen so many times. We're all so familiar with it. It might be easy to go in and just be like, well, they didn't mess it up.
But it doesn't happen automatically.
Yeah. That is a unique perspective on that, just looking at it from the costuming. That is, and man, you're right. Some of the people in this.
Stanton Allen will be returning to the role of Scrooge, which he played in 2021.
Yeah.
Allen, of course, has been in everything. Annie, Newsies, A Christmas Story. He played the old man in A Christmas Story last year.
Yeah.
For 4 seasons. Daniel Francis, and this is an interesting one. He normally runs the fly crew for 4 seasons, and that's not a joke. They are really good at causing their characters to fly. Yeah. And he's stepping up to fill the central role of the Ghost of Christmas Present this year. And I think Cody Rash normally does that role.
Oh yeah,
Clifton Richards.
Last year, at least.
He was one of the clowns in the 39 Steps. He's going to play the ghost of Marley. Jen Bowman will be playing Mrs. Fezziwig. She's from the 4 Seasons production of Into the Woods. Haven Draper, who we've had our eye on because of her participation in conservatory productions of Les Mis.
Oh yeah,
the last 2 times, not this year, but the 2 years previously. She'll be playing the role of Emily.
I'm intrigued by Riley Ritchie as she was the young person in Wizard of Oz that they did a couple of years ago. That's the only thing I remember her from. And they've got her as Ghost of Christmas Past. And
now normally
fun.
the Ghost of Christmas Past is not a big role.
Yeah.
But half the time it's played by a puppet.
Yeah. And what they've done is they've cast this, if I remember right, from her role in Wizard of Oz when they did it, it was very physical, very comedic, very animated. So I'm that's what I'm curious about, to see what Riley does with that role.
Should be interesting, yeah.
That is very cool. All right. That, by the way, is Christmas Carol kicking off.
Thursday, December 5th, and running through the Saturday, December 14th.
Oh, yeah, okay.
At Skyview High School.
That is, by the way, and we don't have to talk about this today if we don't have time, but they have, it's something we'll be talking about soon, I'm guessing. They have announced their 25 lineup, and that's that's impressive, too. I saw that for the first time here on the Four Seasons Theater Company website.
We talked about that before.
That's right, we did. Blythe Spirit, that's a brave one.
I like that show.
Yeah,
I really do.
It's a good one. That'll be, yeah.
It's not ha funny like Hay Fever by Noel Coward.
Yeah.
But it's really charming. It really is.
And now I don't remember ever seeing that one here before.
Oh no, I don't think it has been here before.
That is very cool. I was very excited to see that. I scrolled down as we were talking here, and I'm excited. All right. More to talk about. There's a lot going on for the Christmas season, of course, and with the Thanksgiving holiday long weekend, you've got the Nutcracker Ballet as well in the middle of all of this for running into next week, actually, on that one. So they're here. The Cache Valley Civic Ballet really kind of staking out some ground and staying there for a few days at the Eccles Theater.
Starts Friday of this week and runs to Tuesday of next week. Six performances.
That's pretty impressive. All right. We'll be back with more of the For the People Theater Hour, and Charlie Schill here in the studio right after this.
Magic is found, and traditions begin as you browse the largest variety of shapes and sizes of Christmas trees in the valley at Merrill Family Holiday Sales. They also have Christmas decorations, ornaments, and gift ideas inside their Christmas shop. Gather around a real Christmas tree this holiday season. Merrill Family Holiday Sales is at 1105 West, 2200 South, across from Strata Apartments in Logan. Merrill Family Holiday Sales, making Christmas real since 1992.
Hey, HR directors, open enrollment is right around the corner. It's time for a fresh look at your employee benefits. This is Matt Robbins with Quality First Insurance and Alera Benefits. We are a local agency with national resources and multiple options. Give us a call. You got nothing to lose and everything to gain. Call Quality First Insurance and Alera Benefits today, 435-752-0101.
Does your financial advisor take the time to really listen to you? Is your financial strategy personalized for you and your family? When you work with Edward Jones in Cache Valley, they focus on what's important to you. They'll help you create a personalized financial strategy backed by their advice, tools, and resources to help you reach your goals. And Edward Jones will partner to help your strategy stay on track no matter what happens. Call one of our 11 locations for Edward Jones in Cache Valley. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Welcome back to KVNU's For the People Theater Hour. We stole some time from Charlie today to make room for Governor Cox in our annual tradition of talking to the governor about what he's thankful for from the year and looking forward to next. But we still managed to cover a lot of ground here on the theater hour, despite the governor taking that time. So, have we missed anything?
He's a hard act to follow.
Yeah, he is. but you did. I think you showed him up, actually. He didn't say a thing about Pickleville.
We should talk about, you mentioned Lionheart Hall. They've got a Christmas show coming up, the Carpenters Platinum, on Saturday, December 7th. That's next weekend.
This was a smart get for them.
Yeah.
I really do think it was.
They're going to do two shows, a matinee at 1 p.m. and an evening concert at 7 p.m.
Oh, wow.
Have
they done that before?
No, this is fairly unusual for Lionheart Hall.
Interesting.
The Carpenters Platinum was here in October of last year, doing, a tribute to the Carpenters.
Yeah.
The Carpenters, of course, were a brother-sister duo that performed in the 1970s and the early 1980s prior to Karen Carpenter's death due to bulimia. They're going to do a Christmas show, and they're going to undoubtedly they'll do a lot of Carpenter's hits, and I hope they do. I hope they do Ticket to Ride, because they missed that during.
Really?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
They didn't do Ticket to Ride at the Eccles.
I'm surprised by that. That's a staple.
Yeah,
of an E.
It was the Carpenters' first big hit.
That surprises me.
The Carpenters did two albums, Christmas albums, and they'll probably be doing deep cuts from those. The first one was based on their anthem. And it's called Christmas Portrait, but it featured the song the Christmas song that everybody's familiar with, Merry Christmas, Darling.
Yeah.
The other, there was another Christmas compilation that they put together right after Karen's death in 1984, called Old Fashioned Christmas, which was they rehashed some of their Christmas music from the first album and pulled in some demos and masters from other things that had been left off that original album. So they'll have plenty of material to work with.
Sure.
And, you know, these people are really good. I mean, they're an 11-piece band, which is kind of, you know, I don't think Karen and Richard ever traveled with that big of a band.
5-piece was as big as they ever got. And, and that fifth person was just the tambourine.
Yeah.
That is, I think this is a cool get for Lionheart Hall because so for those that don't remember, the Carpenters Platinum Tribute did really well at the Eccles first go round. And then the second time it was kind of, a small crowd. And,
they came back in on the tail end of somebody else.
Yeah.
I don't remember who it was.
Was it the Eagles tribute? No, it was. But it was someone big.
It was the Fleetwood Mac tribute.
That's what it was. Yeah. And so it just kind of sort of fizzled.
That Fleetwood Mac tribute was wow.
And that was people were on their feet during that one at a nice, comfy theater. That I think was kind of either bad timing or maybe they'd tapped out the audience that existed. And this is perfect, going to a smaller venue, doing 2 shows in one day, a matinee followed by an evening show on the 7th of December. Really smart.
I think you're right.
Yeah, that is. I think Ryan and crew there at Lionheart might know what they're doing. It's starting to look like it.
That's a left-handed compliment if I ever heard one.
I'm proud of them. They have made some smart decisions and taken some risks.
They have.
And filling a niche that hadn't been filled before. So very cool stuff. All right. Charlie Schill and the For the People Theater Hour wrapping up here. You can read Charlie's work in between now and next Thursday at 4 at CashValleyDaily.com. And stick around. More of For the People, spotlighting some more local nonprofits you can give to this giving season, and what the legislature plans to do about housing or not in the upcoming legislative session. More details out today. That's in hour 2 of today's show right after this here on KVNU Logan.